alongside Alan Ferguson in the Mobile Camaro. At the back of those top 6, John Miller the fourth, this time in a Mustang, and alongside of him, Dickie Johnson, replacing injured son Steve.
So Ashley Stitchbury sitting there in that pole position. Can he finally get another win in this series, in which he started with such promise? Gives the thumbs up. He obviously thinks he can. So Stitch, well liked in the New Zealand motorsport scene, very talented customer. It was great to see him get into this drive, but it has turned into something less than the dream season, because he won around here at Pukekohe back in the opening round against Paul Morris and Junior Johnson. And then, of course, he had a disaster at Wellington. Oh, touches there from John Miller, the fourth in the number 2 Mustang, and his teammate Mark Pedersen in the Iowa Mustang. So things just a little loose on the infield there as we take this view from Dick Johnson's NZ Camaro. And, of course, that's a story in itself, with Dickie Johnson taking over from Son Junior, but not really in front running. As you can see, the Mustangs coming into their own here, and only Paul Morris out of the Camaro runners able to slot in amongst them. And right now the Powerbeat car from the Petch team, which of course has won the championship, is in the second spot. Here are the next 2 Camaros. Alan Ferguson tracking Dick Johnson. So the Shell Ford man running the NZ Chevy here for this meeting, just as a special gesture to the NZ team to try and keep the Johnson family effort going, as Junior watches on from pit lane with his busted left knee after the big crash at Manfield last week. Mark Pedersen now, after that scrape with Johnny Miller the fourth in the opening moments of the race, now back in third. Miller in the 4th spot. The reason why he's here in the Mustang and not in his car, of course, is because his Camaro had to be shipped back home to the States, ready for the North American Tranzam season, and had to go before this meeting. So now Morris trying to put the pressure on Stitchbury in the Shell Mustang out front. Morris trying down the outside, just a bit of a feint, trying to see if Stitchbury will crack it all. He locks slightly the right front brake, but no real problem there. And kicking up the dirt in a big way. That's Paul Morris, the Queenslander, who has now wrapped up this championship by virtue of the fact that Junior Johnson, unable to defend his position in the second spot last week after his big crash, and of course unable to race here as well. So now the championship is Morris's, but pride at stake here, because Stitchbury trying to take away these closing races away from the champion, Paul Morris, the Super Tourer champ out of Queensland. And Stitchbury doing a great job, you'd have to say. So the Transaction team had more than its share of troubles this year, as in 3 crashes in 2 different meetings. The last one at Timaru, where their Mustangs took a real hammering. But this is a nice way to go out if he can just hang on to this. Morris trying all he can, though, to put the pressure on him. And you kind of get the feeling that Morris may have a little bit in reserve, because he just seems to be sitting there quite happily, not being left behind at all, and could be sizing Ashley up for some passing move somewhere or other. Could be down the back straight, although I don't know, he seems to get very, very close down the front straight here and down into the S's each time. This is where it's best. The Powerbeat Camaro coming down now through the S's, tracks the Mustang down through there, and closing right up again. Just a bit of a bobble over the curbs there from Stitchbury. But the car certainly having its best run for a long time, and as we say, Stitchbury only 1 win in the series. That's incredible, really, because he was and is one of the stars of this class, just has had such a bad time, but such an unlucky run. So let's see now, he needs to hang on to this spot, and Morris really pushing quite hard out on his own. Mark Pedersen in third, and back behind him I think it was actually Dick Johnson may have come up to 4th. There's Pedersen in the Iowa car, slingshotting it round. No, it's actually John Miller the 4th in the second Transaction Shell car, and then Dick Johnson in the NZ Camaro, the reborn NZ Camaro that is, making its comeback after a week's work down at Grant Brennan's shop in Tauranga. So good to see that back on track, but really not got a lot of qualifying time behind it, and Dick forced to run back in about 5th or 6th spot right now. The fight at the front, though, it's a beauty. Morris really putting the pressure on this time, trying to get the run onto the back straight so he can draft on by as they head for the kink. But I think the time is running out for the young Australian now, as Ashley Stitchbury, now Christchurch based, out of Hawke's Bay, is in the last lap, down to the hairpin the last time. George Shurey's Mustang, that's the privateer, the budget race car out of Green Bay in Auckland, in the way just there, George. and George pulls way over out to the side of the track to make sure these guys have plenty of racing room. Nice move there from him, checking the mirrors to make sure he doesn't spoil their race as he cranks on, but Ashley Stitbury is going to do it. So this is his second race win of the series. Down to the checkered flag, Ashley Stitbury takes it out from Paul Morris, with Mark Pedersen in the Iowa car coming home third.
A lot of pressure, yeah, in more ways than one. It's fantastic for the Shell Tallies team, that's for sure. The guys have worked really hard for this, and we've been through the walls a little bit. So to come here in the last meeting to get a win, I know there's 2 races to go, so the boys will be working hard. But it's just good to get a win and show credit to the team.
Porsche, the AMO car, up into third place already. He only qualified back in about 6th.